Joseph, it's a Q&A. You will hear me if you ask a question.
Well, actually, Joseph, if you're curious, I think Sagar and Eloyan have prepared a couple questions for Arnaud in advance. If you just want to hear the answer to those. Hello, hello, Lakshmi. So we're here with Arnaud from Matrox. If you want to ask him any questions about anything.
I don't have any personal questions. I just came to listen and get some advice from everyone else. But thank you.
Okay, cool. No problem. So Sagal, do you want to start off with a couple of prepared questions that you had for Arnaud? I'm not too sure if you can hear me or not.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. I have some question I can ask, or I can type in the question bar so like everyone can see it.
Yeah, there's actually just a tiny bit of echo from your side. Maybe if you type it out, I can read it out.
Can you hear me better now? Is it good?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, a lot better. A lot better.
It's better?
Much better.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I've prepared some questions. First of all, I think what everyone else would like to know is what are your responsibilities right now, and what do you do at Matrox? If we can start with that end.
Yes, sure. So Matrox is basically a high-tech company specialized in manipulating images, I would say, in the very broad way. So we have different divisions, different groups. Some people are dealing with the moving images, so basically video streaming and video acquisition. And a different division is specialized in the steady state image, where we basically build electronic for acquiring and algorithms to manipulate images for the manufacturing industry or the medical industry. So it's really two different types of image, but the broad specialty of Matrox is to play with this object, this signal, which is an image, for the past 40 years almost. My responsibility, I started 20 years ago in the Matrox imaging division as a researcher in the algorithm developments. And well, after 20 years, after 15 years, I would say, I became director of the research in this division. So my responsibility is basically, I have a team of 30 specialists in image processing algorithms, computer vision, 3D vision.
Great. Thank you. Also, one other question. Right now, what you do, is it more like technical stuff, or it's more management stuff? What are you more responsible for?
Yeah. My job today is much more management stuff. Definitely. So I do less and less and less. I'm still very how can I say, I go in brainstorming sessions with my guys. I still love to be in sessions where we talk about equations, math, and all kind of things like that. But as a matter of fact, when you evolve in your career and you become a director, I would say, and before that I was a manager, so slowly but surely you do much more management and much less science. It's an obligation.
Yeah. one more thing is that I noticed that you started about 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, exactly.
At Matrox. And you started as a developer, right?
Sure, yeah.
Did you ever imagine to become a director? How did you pursue that step by step? Because I think it's a dream for all of us to later years to become like a manager, or yeah. Do you have any experience you can share with us or any tips?
Okay. I'm not sure I would say that I was planning to be specifically a director or something like that. It's difficult to 20 years ago you start your life, and actually 20 years ago I was just finishing my master degree and looking to be a scientist first. 4 years after I started at Matrox, I did my MBA in parallel. So for sure, when you decide to do an MBA, it's because somewhere you hope to do something different or to participate in a different way into the high-tech adventure. But after that, it's difficult to calculate exactly what you're gonna be and when it's gonna be. It's all a question of the structure, and you may have opportunities or not, and when they arrive is difficult to calculate. So whether 20 years ago I would bet I would be a director, for sure not. It was not in my mind at that time.
Cool.
If I could just interject with a question of my own, I was just wondering. You mentioned you have a master's, and I was wondering if that helped you at all in like your career progression towards becoming a director, like after you evolved from, well, after you like moved away from research.
Okay. Okay. Management is managing people first, right? Even if it's in an high-tech area, you manage people like the relationship with your customers and the groups around you, your own people, and well, a master in science does not teach you how to do that. Okay, so and eventually you have a dream to become, and when you taste it, you realize it's not for you. I mean, this is the soft skills, and everything about management is 90% of soft skills. And the only way to know if you like and you are good at that is to try, I think. So I would say my master degree in computer science did not really match with that. The MBA, when I did my MBA, when I finished my MBA, I realized that the MBA was everything but not a job, not a skill. It was a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, which helped me, I would say, maybe 5 years after. But right after my MBA, I was like, okay, I've seen a lot of things, but I know nothing, in fact. You see a piece of HR, you see a piece of finance, you see a piece of strategy, but you see a piece of everything, but you master nothing. So at the end of the MBA, you feel like, okay, I have a very much better understanding of what is a company inside and outside, but I have no skills to be anything tomorrow good at. And I would say it's really slowly and many years later that I realized that, yeah, it brings me something. It may help me, but on the long term, on the long run, really.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. Just kind of like building on that, maybe like, how do you think would be like the best way? Because you said right after the MBA, you kind of feel like you have no practical knowledge, no like skill that you can actually apply. How did you go from there feeling like you had nothing to like gradually building on top of the knowledge from the MBA to being able to use it?
What can I say more clever than just experience? I mean, it's a lot of soft skills and soft skills you get them by experience. So you are exposed to whatever it is. You are exposed to a crisis like in 2008, and you have to make some decisions, and you talk to people around you, you find people who have already experience, you share feelings and the pros and the cons and the experiences of others, and you take your own decisions. And I mean, experience is everything.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
and while you accumulate experience, then all those informations you got during the MBA starts to make sense.
Oh, okay. I see.
It starts to
I
make
see.
sense. So, and also I did an EMBA. So it was the executive MBA are MBAs where you have a lot of people with a lot of experience. I was pretty young for doing an EMBA. So you are in the middle of all these people with 25, 30 years of experience, and they share a lot of stories, and then those stories help you when you are facing your own challenges.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Cool. So I want to ask more like a technical question. Do you have any suggestion for beginners who want to get into image processing, the industry? Is there any beginner tools or projects they can start on?
Yeah, well, look, 20 years ago, so I started image processing 25 years ago when I did my engineer internship in France at the Spatial Agency. I was working on a telescope. At that time, there was no OpenCV, there was nothing like that. And image processing was not even really teach in engineering degree. Okay, it was something it was an alien science at that time. Today, I think most of you in computer science, you have opportunity or possibility to make probably a course or at least a work or a minimal experience in one of the course using an OpenCV, for example, library via Python. And so today, when you have a bachelor degree in computer vision, you probably have much more experience than I used to have. Zero experience after my bachelor degree in engineering in image processing. And now, more recently, you have a kind of a big shift in this domain with all the convolutional networks and all the AI domain. It's really shaking a little bit this area. We go from a traditional approach of image processing to a brand new way of thinking image processing today. So it does not replace completely the past traditional algorithms, but we are really at a junction where a lot of things we used to do in a way are going to be done in a complete different way because of this deep learning stuff. So what can you do for that? Well, all the Coursera and all those, I mean, first of all, at the university now, you have new courses available in deep learning. But if it's not the case, all the Coursera deep learning training, like the one from Andrew Ng, which is very famous in deep learning, are very, very good starting point. And anybody with I would say, computer engineering, electrical engineering degree can easily ramp up from those online courses. And you have you can split it in two ways. You have the people from like Benjo and all the researchers who are building a new theory and new big improvements in deep learning. But you, as an engineering point of view, the tool is very efficient, and a course like Coursera or any bachelor degree in deep learning give you a very fantastic tool. And it's the challenge for you guys at an engineering level is much more to imaging where and how you can apply it and think data, while before that we were thinking algorithms.
Yeah. Cool. I have like a more personal question, I guess. I have some experience in remote sensing and image processing. It's more like working with satellites and remote sensing. Since you mentioned you worked for the Canadian Space Agency.
No, European. At that time, it was in France. I used to do my internship for the in Toulouse, in south of France, for the European agency, space agency. Sorry, not the Canadian one.
Oh, okay. My bad. So I have some experience in like remote sensing. Is this any kind of related to what you do now and like the image processing that you're saying that you work on now?
Not close to. I would say that, okay, first of all, Matrox does not do any vertical applications, so we may have customers doing a remote sensing application. We don't know. We do an SDK, and we build frame grabbers or systems that are put together in or by our own customers in all kind of stories, all kind of applications. But I would say that we are much more dedicated to manufacturing industry. So everything which is part inspection, quality inspection, robot vision for robotic installations in plants is much more our area than remote sensing.
Okay.
Does it answer your question?
Yeah, it did. I have like experience with remote sensing, but I didn't know if it was like any kind of related to this image processing.
Well, I guess by remote sensing you are much more. Are you talking about LiDAR and satellite imaging, right? LiDAR and imaging. And, yeah, okay. So there's nothing that prevents you from using our tools to do that. But I would say it's not the big basis of our own customers. But there's nothing that prevents somebody to do remote sensing with our library.
Okay. Alex, do you have any other questions? So I can.
No, not really, not at the moment. Does anybody else besides me and Sagar have any questions for Arnaud?
I'm just gonna fix my mic and then. I thought someone else would also join. I also prepared some questions for them. Like I had a friend who wanted to ask some question from her, but I guess she's not here right now.
It's a good question, Joseph. Wow, it's a good question. It's a very good question because we work on okay. Let's say about Matrox, but I can after have a different answer if I look at my a broader perspective. We work on an SDK that has a benefit that it changes almost every year or every 4 months. because we sell our algorithms, which are very generic, to all kinds of applications, semiconductor, medical, or so we have the chance to see almost every week any different type of applications. So it's really not boring on that sense. So it's not like if there is something which is really dominant and we prefer to work on one thing than another. It's changing all the time. Now, if I look at all my, if I go back to my university, I have to say that my internship into the domain of in a space agency, which is somehow not the reality. When you are in a space agency, it's a lot of money, no pressure, no customer in the end. You work on a satellite or a telescope, you look at stars, but at the same time, it's amazingly cool. So I was very lucky to have this experience. It's driven by a very different, pace, and the people you meet there, it's something. It was really interesting. Specifically, I was working in a team which are in charge of placing the satellite on their final orbit. And the pressure is amazing the day you have to do that. And all the science behind this is great. So I hope that, yeah, it sounds very cool. It is cool. It is cool. It's very different from the ordinary, job you do in a standard company where you do a product, you sell a product, and you compete and do. Yeah. At some point, it's not the normal way, I would say, when you work on that.
So do you enjoy more what you're doing now, or
No, I enjoy that a lot. We do very cool stuff. I would say that. So I have a research and development team, and I have a real research and development team. Because sometimes, a lot of people can say R&D, but you don't really know what it means. It may be just integrating existing technologies, or what is it a small R and a big D? What does mean research and development? So the team I have, the group I have, we have PhDs and master degree and bachelor degree, but we have we have to innovate. We have to find new algorithms, and the portion of research is big. And this is what makes the job at Matrox really exciting. So, and a lot of the products we do, the algorithms we do, we start blank page. Okay, we have to solve that. And we look at the literature, as you can do in a PhD or a master degree. We read the papers, we try to find out if there is a starting point somewhere, and it's an adventure most of the time. So, no, I enjoy a lot, and it's part of the answer why it's 20 years I'm working in the same area. It's because it's never the same. It has evolved a lot, and if you think about deep learning, yet a new revolution again. So it's not boring at all, and there are a lot of new blank pages to fill now.
Interesting.
Well, I think that was the last of the questions that we had. Unless anybody else has some last minute remarks for Arnaud. I'd like to thank you very much for your time, Arnaud, coming us today and sharing your experiences and life at Matrox, how it's like now and how it's changed in the past 20 years of time.
Yeah, no problem.
It was really great hearing from you.
No problem. And maybe on the last note, I don't know, not everybody loves image processing, but I would say that the reason I really felt in love with image processing is because when you apply your math on an image, you see it. And to me, it talks a lot. You have a visual result, and you see the result of what you do immediately. So for those who need something very concrete, You see, you need to feel the result of what you do. Image is an amazing area for that. And if you make a mistake, you see it.
Yeah, definitely. That's the result I've seen more when working with image processing. It's just all my mistakes pop out instantly.
Okay, so thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you for coming. I personally enjoyed it so much. I'm sure it was the same for the rest. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, bye-bye.